So nothing bothers you? What bothers you? Racism doesn't bother you? Bad words don't bother you? What bothers you?
I hate frauds and pretentious people and I don't know. I hate people who's not comfortable with themselves. That scares me.
You hate phonies?
Yeah, I hate people who don't really like what they like.
What do you mean?
For example, it's like people who don't really, you don't really like that. You just, I've known people who only like stuff because either I like it or it's the cool thing to like or things like that, and these people aren't comfortable with themselves.
Thing to do.
Like they'll base their opinion off someone else's opinion because they don't want to be like the odd man out. Like, that's what scares me.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That puts so much, dude, you don't like that goddamn shirt. Why did you wear that? Because it's the tight thing right now. You don't even look comfortable.
You think we'll ever have a gay rap artist?
Maybe one day. That would be, but that's why does that matter?
I know.
If he want to dudes or whatever, why does that matter? Why do we care?
I've never figured that out.
That's so fucking crazy.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about the complicated history of queer representation in hip-hop. Before we get into everything, I would like to give a shout out to the upcoming queer artists that's on the rise right now and that I personally listen to. First, we have Akasha Bentley.
Keep talking out the mouth, won't have the ice that's top lip. Keep talking out the mouth, won't have the ice that's top lip. Keep talking out the mouth, won't have the ice that's top lip. Won't have the ice that's top lip. When I pull up to the spot looking red, I got them hot keys. Wobble all the way.
Then we have Cortez Star.
Beer for my penny. Keeping it fresh while I'm shaking my butt. I'm in and I'm making him nut. I piss them all and they calling me mud. I shake my ass and they call me once your ass be so pull up to the cut. I'm high as fuck cause I'm smoking a blunt. You in the back and no bitch, I'm in front.
And we have Derek Lemire.
How it really hurts, yeah, my mini skirt in the yellow bird. Why you walk the curb? Got these haters looking shocked, watching all they words. I been leading all the sheep, you just in the herd. Can you spell dichotomy? Bet you ain't.
These artists are killing it right now. Y'all just go show love to their songs. Hip-hop, born from the streets of the Bronx in the 1970s, has long been a powerful voice for marginalized communities. Yet, despite its roots in resistance and expression, the genre has historically struggled with inclusivity, especially when it comes to queer representation. The relationship between hip-hop and the LGBTQ+ community has been one of tension, transformation, and more recently celebration. In its formative years, hip-hop largely reflected the hypermasculine and hypernormative norms of the broader society. Lyrics often reinforced traditional gender roles and at times included overtly homophobic language. This wasn't unique to hip-hop. Many musical genres exhibited similar biases, but because hip-hop positioned itself as a reflection of real-life struggles and identities, the erasage of condemnation particularly stark. Artists like Big Daddy Kane, Eazy-E, and even Eminem in later decades were criticized for using anti-gay slurs and lyrics. The culture within hip-hop spaces often equated queerness with weakness, reinforcing the stigma. Despite mainstream hostility, queer artists were always part of hip-hop, just not always in the open. The ballroom scene, depicted in the documentary Paris is Burning, had its own kind of hip-hop incorporating voguing, rap, and dance. In the 1990s and early 2000s, artists like Caution often cited as one of the first openly gay rappers to gain media attention. He began to emerge, though he never released a major label album.
You know what I'm saying? I'm keeping it real. You heard? Illest homo dug out the NYC. And it's 2 ingredients y'all need to be. Catch it. Y'all got to be sexable, flexible, ow, ow. Sexable, flexible, cat, cat. Sexable, flexible, ow, ow. Caution, caution, cat, cat, cat.
Underground movements, Zines, and LGBTQ+ parties created safe spaces where queer hip-hop artists could thrive away from mainstream judgment. In the early 2010s, we began to see a cultural shift, driven by the internet, changing social norms, and growing activism for the queer rights. Frank Ocean's 2012 letter about his love for another man marked a cultural milestone. While Ocean isn't strictly a rapper, his connection to the hip-hop world via Odd Future made waves. Isaiah Banks, despite her controversies, she brought queer aesthetics and ballroom influences into her music.
Yeah.
One of our interns here, she said that you make music for gays.
I do.
I'm not the intern. I mean, she looked at me like...
What's wrong with that?
Nothing at all.
Nothing's wrong with it.
So?
No, I'm saying
what now?
I mean, it's not specifically for that audience. You just make music, right?
I guess.
Mickey Blanco and Left emerged as openly queer artists who use hip-hop to challenge gender and sexuality norms. These artists rejected traditional hip-hop and created music that was unapologetically queer in both content and style. By the late 2010s and the early 2020s, Queer representation in hip hop became more visible and accepted in mainstream culture. Lil Nas X, who came out as gay in 2019, represents a monumental shift. His genre blending hits, flamboyant style, and queer-centered music videos like Montero, Call Me By Your Name, challenged hip hop's historical discomfort and queerness. Tyler, the Creator, once known for using homophobic slurs, began speaking about his sexuality and queerness more openly, complicating earlier perceptions of his work. Saucy Santana and Doja Cat, among others, embraced queer aesthetics and collaborated across gender and sexual identity boundaries. These artists not only found success but reshaped the cultural expectations of who could belong in hip hop. But despite progress, the challenges still remain. Homophobia and transphobia still surface in lyrics, fan communities, and social media discourse. Queer artists often face tokenism or pressure to downplay their identity to gain broader acceptance. Some segments of the industry and fan base still resist or question queer visibility in hip hop, revealing deep-rooted biases. Hip hop is undergoing a transformation. As newer generations embrace fluid identities and demand inclusive spaces, queer artists are finding more opportunities to tell their stories. Platforms like TikTok and SoundCloud help queer artists bypass gatekeepers. Artists such as Kevin Abstract, Big Frida, and Chica continue to push boundaries around identity, gender, and genre. The history of queer representation in hip hop is one of resilience and reinvention. What was once seen as a contradiction, queer identity within hip hop is now becoming an integral part of the genre's future. The journey of queer representation in hip hop mirrors the broader fight for LGBTQ+ visibility and rights, a struggle against silence, a rebellion against exclusion, and a celebration of authenticity. As hip hop evolves, it is increasingly becoming a space where all voices, no matter their gender, sexuality, or background, can be heard. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to my video. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
But what I will say is another thing that I think stops the mainstream thing for people like us is our marketability, right? So we have to be able to be marketable to white people. We have to be able to be marketable to straight people. There are other people that make up large demographics of the world aside from gay black men, you know? And so we have to be able to be digested by those individuals. And as we know, the current political climate that we're in, that is a little difficult.
Yeah.
I also feel like you have to have a look. You have to have a niche. You have to have this one specific thing about you. We are incapable for some reason as consumers to understand that people are multifaceted. So yes, I like to wear mini skirts, but I also like to fish, you know, but that's not something that I'm gonna push because
Are you serious?
I'm dead ass. But that's not something that I'm gonna push because people are like, who cares about that? Yes, I am feminine presenting, but if you need a light fixture changed, I'm your guy. You know, there's like, yeah, I could build.
That's the best
all
part
of this
about gay
shit.
folks, though.
So it's like, people don't understand that you have to be this one thing. You also have to be fuckable. People have to want to have sex with you, or have to want to be you, or have to want to look like you.